I've delivered food to thousands of apartments in New York City, but there's one building that doesn't exist on any map. One building people refuse to talk about. And after what happened to me on the 9th floor, I will never work another night shift again. The Whispering Floor, New York City, winter, 2019. Rain hammered the empty streets while 28-year-old Daniel Carter finished his final food delivery shift of the night. At exactly 2:13 a.m., his phone buzzed. A new order appeared. Blackwood Apartments, floor 9, tip, $100. Daniel smiled. Easy money. But something felt wrong immediately. He had lived in New York his entire life and had never heard of Blackwood Apartments. Still, money was money, so he accepted the order. The building? Nobody knew. The GPS led him deep into Brooklyn, to a forgotten street hidden between abandoned factories. At the end of the road stood a massive apartment building covered in darkness. No lights, no cars, no people, only a flickering neon sign. Blackwood Apartments. The front door was already open. Inside, the lobby smelled like mold and wet carpet. An old elevator waited silently with its doors open. No security cameras, no receptionist, nothing. Daniel stepped inside the elevator. There were buttons for floors 1 through 8, but the 9th floor button looked newer than the others, like someone had added it later. The elevator slowly climbed upward. Floor 3, floor 5, floor 7. Then suddenly, the lights shut off. The elevator stopped moving. Complete darkness. Then Daniel heard it. Breathing. Right behind him. Wet. Slow. Heavy. A voice whispered directly into his ear. Don't go to the 9th floor. The lights snapped back on. Ding. Floor 9. The hallway. The hallway stretched endlessly into darkness. Every light flickered overhead. Every apartment door was chained shut, except apartment 909. The door was slightly open. Daniel knocked softly. No answer. Slowly, he pushed the door open. Dust covered the furniture. Old family photographs lined the walls, but every face in every picture had been scratched out. Then, the television turned on by itself. Static filled the room. An emergency news broadcast appeared. The reporter looked terrified. Authorities have confirmed the disappearance of every resident inside Blackwood Apartments. The footage was dated October 14, 1987. Daniel froze. That was impossible. He grabbed his phone. No signal. Then footsteps echoed from the ceiling above him, but there was no floor above the 9th. Children started laughing somewhere in the darkness. Something heavy dragged across the floor overhead. Then a red ball rolled slowly into the room, covered in blood. The hidden room. Daniel tried to leave, but the apartment door was gone. Only walls remained. Panic consumed him. Then he noticed a narrow hallway that hadn't been there before. At the end stood a rusted metal door. Inside were hundreds of VHS tapes. Every tape had a different name written on it. Then Daniel saw one labeled Daniel Carter. His hands shook violently. He inserted the tape into an old VCR. The screen flickered. Security footage appeared. It showed Daniel entering Blackwood Apartments earlier that night. Then the footage changed. Daniel watched himself screaming in the hallway while dark figures dragged him away. The timestamp read 3:41 am tomorrow. The screen suddenly turned black, and in the reflection behind him stood a tall, pale figure with completely black eyes, smiling. The truth about Blackwood. The creature leaned closer. You were invited. Suddenly, Daniel remembered something his mother once told him as a child. If you ever find a place that doesn't exist on a map, run. The walls began shifting around him. The apartment stretched endlessly. Screams echoed through every hallway. Doors slammed shut behind him. Something crawled rapidly across the ceiling. Bones cracked loudly in the darkness. Daniel ran until he found apartment 914. Inside sat dozens of missing people, some alive, some dead, all staring silently at the wall. An old woman slowly whispered, "The building feeds on lonely people." Daniel's voice trembled. "What is this place?" The old woman smiled. "Blackwood isn't a building, it's alive." Then every person in the room slowly turned toward Daniel at the exact same time, smiling. Final escape. Daniel sprinted toward the elevator. The hallway lights exploded one after another behind him. Boom, boom, boom. Something enormous chased him through the darkness. The elevator doors slowly opened. Too slowly. A horrifying scream echoed behind him. Daniel jumped inside just as black hands reached for him. The elevator dropped rapidly. Floor 8. Floor 6. Floor 3. Then suddenly, it stopped again. Darkness filled the elevator, and the whisper returned. You can leave. But Blackwood never forgets. The doors opened. Morning sunlight poured into the lobby. The building looked abandoned. Now, no sign, no people, nothing. Daniel ran to his car and drove away forever. Ending twist. 3 months later, a woman in Chicago ordered food late at night. At exactly 2:13 a.m., a final delivery request appeared on her phone. Blackwood Apartments, Floor 9, tip, $100. And somewhere deep in the darkness, an elevator door slowly opened.